Under a red, angry moon, a ring of witches gathered around a giant black pot. No wind blew, yet the flames under it danced wildly. Then he arrived, tall, dressed as Father Christmas, eyes hidden behind round glasses, a strange smile on his face. And when he opened his mouth, sharp, protruding teeth glimmered. Over his shoulder was a huge sack filled with toys, candies, and storybooks. The head witch stepped forward. "Have you brought the children's joy?" she asked. He nodded once. The witches began to chant as he emptied the sack into the pot. The gifts floated above the black fire, spinning slowly, glowing faintly. Then the head witch whispered the curse. "Let sickness follow every child who touches these. Let their strength fade. Let their glory be taken. Let their future be ours." The pot bubbled. The gifts grew brighter, shinier, more attractive. But something evil lived inside them now. The man with the sharp teeth smiled widely, lifted the enchanted gifts from the pot, placed them back into his sack, and walked into the night, ready to spread Christmas gifts. It was the week before Christmas, and Summerside was bubbling with excitement. Everywhere you turned, you could feel the joy in the air. Colorful lights blinked above the streets, and the smell of fried chicken and spices filled the whole neighborhood. Children ran everywhere, laughing, shouting, chasing each other with new hairstyles and freshly polished shoes. Mothers stood outside their doors, stirring pots, chopping vegetables, and shouting instructions to their children. Fathers carried bags of rice, drinks, and live chickens for the big day. Neighbors stopped to greet one another, smiling with that warm Christmas spirit. Everyone was happy. Everyone was busy. Everyone was waiting for a beautiful Christmas. On a chilly afternoon, just when the sun was beginning to hide behind the clouds, he arrived. At first, it was the sound of jingling bells, soft, gentle, almost calming. Children turned their heads. Then came the footsteps, slow, steady, almost too steady. And then he appeared. Tall, jolly-looking, dressed fully in bright red from head to toe. His white beard looked fluffy, his eyes hidden behind round spectacles, and a wide smile stretched across his face. Over his shoulder hung a massive sack, so big that it almost touched the ground. Yet he carried it with ease, as if it weighed nothing. The children didn't wait for a second invitation. They shouted, "Father Christmas! Father Christmas!" and ran toward him, their faces glowing with excitement. Parents watched from a distance, smiling and whispering to themselves, "Ah, maybe he's from one church outreach. Or maybe one NGO. Christmas is sweet this year, oh." The man nodded kindly at everyone, his smile never leaving his face. Then he began sharing gifts. Small toys that sparkled in the sunlight. Colorful candies wrapped in shiny paper. Little storybooks with bright pictures. Red and white Christmas caps that made the children giggle. Each child held their gift with joy. They laughed, jumped, and compared their presents. Some even danced around the man as if he were the true Santa. He only waved gently, smiled softly, and continued down the street, handing out gift after gift. Wherever he passed, children screamed with happiness. Wherever he walked, parents nodded in approval. That afternoon, he moved like a shadow of joy through the neighborhood, leaving excitement in the hearts of children. But not everyone was fooled by the cheerful noise and bright colors. At the corner of the street, sitting on her usual stool, was Mama Suzu. The old woman people rarely took seriously. She watched the man in red carefully. She didn't smile. She didn't wave. Her eyes followed his every step, and with each jingle of his bells, her frown deepened. She shook her head slowly and muttered under her breath, this is not pure. When the children ran past her, waving their toys and shouting with excitement, she raised her voice slightly. Children, do not take gifts from strangers. Not every gift is given with good intentions. Her voice cracked with age but carried a warning that came from deep experience. The parents nearby exchanged glances and laughed quietly, trying not to offend her. One mother stepped closer and patted Mama Suzu gently on the shoulder. "Ah, Mama Suzu, relax. It's Christmas. He's just being kind." Another parent shook his head and whispered to his friend, "This woman today fear everything." The children didn't pay her any attention. Their eyes were fixed on the Father Christmas, who was now waving at them again, his sack still full of gifts. They ran forward with excitement, shouting and smiling, stretching out their hands to receive more presents. But Mama Suzu's eyes didn't leave the man in red for a second. Her heart was uneasy. Something about him. Something about the way he moved. Something about the way he kept smiling did not sit well with her. At first, nothing seemed wrong. The street buzzed with excitement, the sound of children laughing, wrappers tearing, toys clattering to the ground. But slowly, little things began to happen. Children toys and the gift items started moving on their own. Parents gather around, confused, brushing the incidents aside. Children have wild imaginations, they say. It's just excitement, they insist. Quiet, innocent children suddenly start mumbling unknown languages in their sleep. Some whisper warnings. Some chant things that sound like old incantations. At first, parents thought the children were just talking in their dreams. Soft murmurs, faint whispers, barely noticeable. But soon, the whispers grew louder, too loud, like voices being forced out of their tiny throats. Children who barely spoke outside their native language suddenly began whispering strange, ancient words, their tongues twisting in ways no child should understand. Some whispered warnings. "Don't open the door. They are watching. Hide the gifts." Others chanted deep sounds, like rituals older than the town itself, sounds that made adults' skin crawl, like old incantations from forgotten shrines. Then came the night everything changed. One boy, usually the quietest child on the street, shot upright in his bed, eyes still closed, body stiff like wood. In a deep, hollow voice that wasn't his, he said slowly, "They said, they are coming back, for the rest." His mother screamed his name, shaking him, but he didn't respond. A second later, his body went limp. He collapsed back into his pillow, breathing normally, as if nothing had happened. When he woke up the next morning, he remembered nothing. But his mother never slept peacefully again. Then, just a few days later, it began. First one child fell sick. Then another. Then 5 more by the next morning. Inside the local clinic, nurses rushed from child to child. Doctors checked temperatures, took blood samples, called for drips. But nothing made sense. "We've never seen this pattern before. Fever, nausea, sudden fatigue, but no infection we can detect," the doctor said. "And it's spreading fast." The clinic's waiting room overflowed. Parents held their children tightly, some crying, some praying under their breath. By the second day, the community noticed something terrifying. All the sick children, every single one, had received a gift from Father Christmas. Mothers exchanged panicked looks. Fathers clenched their fists in fear. Rumors spread like fire. "It's the gifts. It must be that strange man. Why didn't we listen to Mama Suzu? That evening, the whole community gathered at the junction. Tired, angry, and afraid, they had one mission: find the man in red. And then, as if he was expecting them, he appeared at the end of the road. Calm, slow, smiling. His red suit looked brighter than before. His sack was still full. The bells on his cap jingled softly with every step. Parents rushed toward him. Tell us the truth. What did you give our children? Why are they all sick? The man stopped walking. He looked at all of them, one after the other, as if studying their faces. Then he spoke, gently. I'm only spreading joy. His voice was soft. Too soft. Soft enough to make some parents step back. But this time, nobody was fooled. They had seen the evidence. Every sick child had a gift. Every gift carried something evil. Something hidden. Children became weaker whenever the gifts were close. Even if they didn't touch them. The truth was undeniable. Whispers spread through the crowd. He's not Father Christmas. This man came for something else. Before anyone could grab him. Before anyone could shout again. The man in red stepped back. Smiled one last time. And disappeared. No running. No noise. Just gone. He left only silence, fear, and confusion behind. The community destroyed every remaining gift. One by one, the toys melted in the flames. The candies turned black. Slowly, painfully, the children began to recover. Fever faded. Nausea stopped. Strength returned. And Mama Suzu's voice became a warning the whole neighborhood would never forget. Not every gift is given with good intentions. Sometimes danger hides behind the brightest colors and sweetest smiles. Always be discerning, especially when it involves children. Listen to warnings, even when they come from unlikely sources. The community ignored Mama Suzu because she was old and odd, but wisdom often comes from experience, not appearance. Protect your children beyond what they can see or understand. Kids are easily excited, but adults must stay alert. A moment of carelessness can lead to danger. Evil often disguises itself as kindness. The man dressed as Father Christmas looked friendly, but his intentions were dark. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, even if everyone else dismisses it, pay attention. Uneasiness is a language of its own. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another thrilling tale. Let me know, what would you do if you were in this neighborhood? And if you think someone else needs to hear this story, share it and let them experience the suspense too. Your support keeps the stories alive.